You know, every high-performing founder has a hidden liability. It's something that never, ever shows up on a balance sheet, but it costs them a fortune. It's this invisible force that drains your most critical asset, your executive energy and focus. We call it the betrayal tax, and in this explainer, we're going to show you how to stop paying it for good. So what exactly is this tax? Well, it's not just a feeling, it's not some vague sense of burnout. Think of it as a very real, very concrete operational drag. It's the friction you create every single time you make a choice that goes against your gut. And each one of those small, internal betrayals, it levies a silent tax on your performance, your clarity, and your ability to lead. Which, of course, leads to the most important question. Are you paying it? And listen, this isn't just a personal wellness check-in. This is a critical business diagnostic because this tax, if you let it go unchecked, can quietly sabotage the very empire you're working so hard to build. Okay, so how do you spot it? Well, the main symptom is this feeling that you're on some kind of hard-coded failure trajectory. It's this deep internal friction that feels super personal, but it's actually a systemic flaw in your business's DNA. It all starts with a sense of being split. And this is where it gets really real. A founder I know described it perfectly. She said she felt like she was living two different lives. And man, this just gets to the core of the issue for so many leaders. There's the company you say you want, and then there's the one you keep building by default. This right here, this really shows you those two lives. See, on one side, you've got your stated trajectory. That's the empire you're building, the future self you're aiming for. But on the other side, that's the default trajectory, the one driven by old patterns and habits. And that gap between them, that's the battlefield. That's where the betrayal tax is collected. And here's the most important point I want you to get. That tension you feel, that feeling of being pulled between two versions of yourself, it is not a personal failing. It's an objective business risk. Think of it like a systemic stress indicator, a big flashing light telling you that your personal operating system is out of sync with your company's goals. So let's shift gears and talk about the prescription. We're not talking about therapy here. We're talking about a strategic protocol. This is an architectural upgrade to your personal OS, and it's designed specifically to eliminate that systemic stress and get your trajectory realigned. And here's the secret, right? This architectural upgrade, it doesn't require some massive, life-altering overhaul. True alignment isn't about blowing up your life or your business. No, it starts with one small, honest decision. A decision that honors who you're becoming, not who you've been. So the protocol itself is actually beautifully simple. First, you isolate the conflict, that one decision you've been kind of avoiding. Second, you consult your intuition, what feels true, even if it feels uncomfortable. Third, you execute one single aligned decision. And finally, you commit. No second guessing, no renegotiating with your old habits. This one decision becomes the very first architectural brick in your new foundation. And the payoff for laying just that one brick? It's almost immediate. The moment you run this protocol, you stop paying the tax. Let's look at the ROI for that founder we were just talking about. 1 week. That's all it took. After making a single aligned decision, which for her was setting a hard boundary around her evenings to focus on vision work, she felt a fundamental shift. One decision, 1 week, and her entire default trajectory began to reverse. I mean, the efficiency of this is just staggering. So why was it so fast? Well, because the world around her didn't have to change. She did. By making that one choice, she stopped the cycle of self-betrayal. All that energy she was spending on internal friction, that's the tax, was suddenly freed up. That's capital she could now reinvest into strategic clarity, faster decisions, and, actually building her business. And this, right here, this is the core principle. The protocol isn't magic, it's just mechanics. It's the simple, repeatable practice of making your inner truth your outer direction. And that is operational integrity at the highest possible level. Which brings us to the foundation, because this isn't just about feeling better, right? This is about building something that actually lasts. It's about forging your empire on solid ground. So let's be absolutely clear on this. It's a non-negotiable principle of leadership. You cannot build a high-level empire on a cracked foundation of self-betrayal. It just doesn't work. Ultimately, the leader's internal state becomes the company's ceiling. So the process for you begins right now. What is that one decision, that one conversation you need to have, the boundary you need to set, the project you need to kill, the choice that feels deeply true, even if it makes you profoundly uncomfortable? That's your starting point. Isolate it And if you're still unsure, I'll leave you with this final question. What is the one decision your future self, the one who has already built the empire, what would that person do today? Your answer to that, that's your first step. That is how you stop paying the tax and start building on solid ground.